So just how broken is Blood Death Knight in Cataclysm? Well, that's what I wanted to find out when I made Clothyani, a Blood Death Knight who completely rejects the burden of heavy armor in order to tackle the dangers of the world only using cloth gear. The goal of this Death Knight was to clear 13 out of 13 heroic as a main tank, and without any math being done to see if it was actually doable, this Death Knight went on his merry way to conquer Azeroth. Welcome to the Adventures of Clothyani. So why would someone do this? It basically comes down to boredom, but also a bit of a statement on the current state of tanks in Cataclysm. Before the expansion release, Blizzard stated in interviews that they would be keeping a close eye on certain underperforming classes, with the likes of Protection Warriors having a sub 5% participation in heroic rating, and us now entering phase 3 without any hint of adjustments being on the horizon. It was time to showcase how big the difference truly is. The idea was simple. Granted I can get enough stamina and stack as much haste and mastery as possible, the increased damage taken from physical attacks wouldn't be such a big deal. With some napkin math calculations, the increased damage taken from physical attacks in cloth gear compared to plate gear would be around 60% higher. But of course, most of the truly dangerous mechanics in tier 11 are magical, which are not affected by what type of armor I wear. Since the Deathstrike healing scales with the amount of damage I'm taking, the bonus healing from Deathstrike and Mastery should close the gap pretty well, assuming that I properly time my Deathstrike healing and that I don't get one shot. Without boring you with the details of the leveling process, I sent over some cloth heirlooms, leveled up through questing in a few dungeons, hit 85 with low to no trouble. Then it was time to head into heroic dungeons. This is where I expected to hit my first roadblock. But even without any strength from my armor pieces, and with significantly less armor, we carried the groups through all of the heroics we did until we were pre-bis gear by picking up a few BOEs and Valor Point items along the way. But that's when we hit the real roadblock of this challenge, the looking for raid tool. I'm about to blow your mind here, but people aren't really looking to join groups where the main tank is wearing cloth gear. I know, I was shocked too. So, with little success finding raid members, Clothyani was put to the side for the time being as we were focusing on testing the Firelands PTR and then subsequently making the raid guides for it. A little bit of a side note, 6 out of the 7 heroic raid guides are available right now. I have linked to the playlist in the description if you want to check it out. But after a few months of neglect, something spectacular happened. Heroic Plus was announced, and with it came a bunch of new cloth gear for me to acquire. So we dusted off Clothyani, headed into Heroic Plus, and got to work farming fragments. We picked up the Sinestro helmet and neck, Magma trinket, Valor Point ring and bracers, Nefarian shoulders and chest, while trying to gavel on some good legs and cloak. As my sanity from running Heroic Plus had certainly waned at this point, we made do with a pair of haste and spirit legs, while unfortunately not getting an upgrade in the cloak department. In the gear we had at this point, we were rocking around 125% mastery and 600-ish haste. You'd be surprised at how hard it was to get haste on our gear, so I was rocking a ton of crits and even some spirits on a few items. But now it was time to head into raid. Now, I am very lucky that I have a guild that will put up with some of my shenanigans, and we managed to get together a group of alts from the guild while filling some slots with pugs from Trade Chat. We started in Blackwing Descent and got down Magma with little to no trouble, managing to pick up a weapon in the process. And this was kind of the story with the rest of Blackwing Descent. We had a few wipes on both Omnitron and Maloriak, but that was mostly just down to us being bad and not necessarily used to either our classes or playing on a 10-man difficulty. On Nefarian, I was a bit scared to tank the boss, especially during the first phase where you're tanking both Onyxia and Nefarian at the same time. But with some defensive rolling, that was no issue either. And frankly, that's kind of the story of the rest of the bosses as well. We went through Throne of the Four Winds and Bastion of Twilight with little to no issue if you don't count the orbs on Council. Of course, there were a few close calls. But surprisingly, not a single wipe throughout the entire evening was caused by me dying. Kill times were kind of standard to what you would expect of an average group, with the overall logs of the raid being very average as well. You may have expected the healers to have to heal their heart out to keep me up with the increased damage taken, but looking at logs, that didn't seem to be the case. Most of the additional damage taken was compensated by my own self-healing being significantly higher. Speaking of healing, Clothyani is the proud rank 1 Blood Death Knight healer in the world. What a feat to end this 5-month phase on. I've linked to the logs in the description if someone's interested in the damage breakdown and whatnot. If you're playing a tank, I would highly advise you to come over and join our Discord, where there are plenty of resources, tips, and log reviews being done over there. The Discord channel will pretty much always be the first place where tips gets posted, so if you want to join, click the link in the description. But that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.